Men over 60 are being fooled by instant hardness tricks. Some of them feel powerful for a few seconds and quietly make things worse. If you've ever felt that moment of panic before intimacy, where something that used to be automatic suddenly feels uncertain, this video matters, because the real issue isn't desire. It's a system almost no one explains. Stay with me for a few minutes. Once you understand how erections actually work after 60, the tricks lose their power, and control comes back. Men don't search for quick fixes because they're foolish. They search because something personal feels like it's slipping, and no one prepared them for the change. When the body hesitates, the mind fills the gap with urgency, and urgency is dangerous, not because it's wrong, but because it pushes men toward the loudest promises instead of the right explanations. This isn't about shame. It's about understanding what changed, why panic makes it worse, and how control returns by working with physiology instead of fighting it. Here's the calm truth most men never hear. Erections do not improve through tricks, friction, or surface stimulation. Those things excite sensation. They do not restore control. After 60, the issue is rarely desire. It's circulation slowing quietly over years, and nerve communication becoming less efficient. When those systems weaken, shortcuts feel tempting. But shortcuts never address the signal the body actually needs. This is where confusion begins. An erection is not a surface reaction. It's a coordinated internal event involving three systems working in sequence. First, blood flow. Arteries must open, pressure must rise, blood must be able to enter and stay. Second, nerve signaling. Messages travel from the brain and spinal cord, telling those vessels when to open and how long to stay relaxed. Third, hormonal permission, primarily testosterone. Not as a creator, but as a gatekeeper that allows those signals to pass. Together, this forms what I call the erection control loop. When the loop is intact, stimulation feels effortless. When it weakens, effort increases, but results don't. This distinction matters more after 60 than it ever did at 40. Aging is often described as loss. Medically, it's closer to a change in volume, not a shutdown. Nitric oxide production slows, so blood vessels don't open as quickly. Arterial walls lose some elasticity, so pressure builds more slowly. Nerve sensitivity softens. Signals become quieter, not absent. Nothing here means the system is broken. The pathways are still there. They simply require different conditions than they once did. Instant reactions belong to younger physiology. After 60, improvement follows time-based biology. This is why surface stimulation feels logical and fails. Touch produces immediate feedback. The brain interprets that as progress, but when circulation or signaling is compromised, no amount of surface input can force internal systems to respond. What often happens instead is sensory noise. Receptors become overstimulated, signals become chaotic, the nervous system protects itself by dulling response. The result isn't improvement, it's frustration, desensitization, and a widening gap between effort and outcome. Aggressive methods don't restore control, they make the system quieter. Here's the principle most men never hear. Erection quality is decided long before contact ever occurs. It depends on how well blood enters the arteries, how effectively veins hold that blood in place, and how healthy the vessel lining is that manages pressure and flow. This internal environment decides firmness, duration, and reliability. That's why the real focus after 60 isn't stimulation quantity, it's circulation quality. One chases sensation, the other rebuilds function. This is also where testosterone is misunderstood. Testosterone doesn't create erections by itself. It acts more like a permission signal, telling blood vessels and nerves that conditions are safe to respond. When levels drop with age, the signal softens, but it rarely disappears. That's why panic-driven hormone chasing disappoints. Raising numbers without restoring circulation changes little. After 60, Testosterone works best as a partner, not the star. When blood flow improves over weeks, hormone signaling becomes more effective naturally. Now here's the part that changes everything, and where many men sabotage progress. The body does not rebuild on demand. It responds to conditions, then adapts quietly over time. When circulation and nerve signaling are supported correctly, changes often begin within 2 to 3 weeks. I call this the reawakening window. Blood vessels regain responsiveness. Nitric oxide signaling strengthens. Nerves reduce protective dulling. Nothing dramatic happens overnight. Instead, reliability slowly returns. This is where most men give up too early. They test the system daily. They look for instant proof. They assume failure when the body is still adapting. But biology doesn't reward pressure. It rewards consistency. Strong men aren't defined by how quickly they react. They're defined by how well they regulate. Masculine control isn't forcing outcomes in moments of stress. It's understanding systems and guiding them patiently. Impulsive fixes promise dominance. They actually hand control over to fear. Strategic self-management does the opposite. It slows the response, removes panic, and restores command where it matters. There is no shame in acknowledging change. Strength shows up in restraint. When you stop reacting to symptoms and start managing conditions, something shifts. Performance stops feeling unpredictable. Confidence returns quietly. Control feels earned, not forced. No tricks, no embarrassment, no pressure to prove anything in a moment. Just systems working the way they're designed to work. So here's the real takeaway. Performance doesn't come from objects, pressure, or clever techniques. It comes from blood flow improving, nerves communicating clearly, and hormones supporting the signal. Trust grows when you stop testing yourself and start supporting yourself. There is no race, no deadline, no failure here. Lasting performance is something you rebuild, protect, and maintain. And once you understand that, fear fades, confidence steadies, and control returns. Quietly, predictably, on your terms.